In 2014, a young couple boarded a small charter plane expecting a simple one-hour flight over the Amazon rainforest. But within minutes, everything went wrong. What followed was a 14-day fight against the world's harshest jungle, where every night felt like their last. This is their story. Emily Carter and Daniel Hayes had been traveling South America for months. Adventure lovers, newly engaged, and always seeking the extraordinary, they booked a sightseeing flight to take photos of the Amazon from above. The aircraft, a tiny six-seater, piloted by a veteran who'd spent decades navigating the rainforest skies. Takeoff was smooth. The view, breathtaking. But 20 minutes in, the clouds shifted. The pilot radioed a warning, a storm system forming unexpectedly. Then came the first jolt. A violent downward shake. Daniel grabbed Emily's hand. The pilot fought the controls, shouting over the engine, "Hold on. We're losing altitude." A deafening bang. The left engine sputtered, then died. The plane dipped sharply. Trees rushed upward like spears. Emily screamed. And everything went black. When Emily opened her eyes, she couldn't breathe. A seatbelt dug painfully into her ribs. Smoke filled the cabin. Daniel was beside her, conscious, bleeding from his forehead, trying to unbuckle her seatbelt. The pilot didn't survive. The aircraft had split against two trees and was hanging at an angle. They crawled out moments before the wreckage sparked. The smell of burning fuel filled the air. Behind them, the plane burst into flames. They were alone. In the middle of the Amazon. No radio. No supplies except what they could salvage. And no idea which direction to go. The jungle swallowed daylight fast. By evening, the rainforest turned into a pitch-black maze of sounds, screeches, hisses, rustling leaves. Mosquitoes swarmed their exposed skin. Emily shivered from shock and the dropping temperature. Daniel built a crude shelter using fallen branches and a piece of plain fuselage. It kept them dry, barely. Around midnight, something heavy moved nearby. A snapping branch. A low growl. Emily froze. Daniel whispered, trembling, "Jaguar. Don't move." The animal sniffed, circled, and eventually wandered off. The couple didn't sleep that night. At sunrise, they inventoried their items, one half-burned first aid bag. A broken GPS. 2 protein bars. A small bottle of water. A lighter Emily kept in her camera bag. A piece of reflective metal for signaling. Not nearly enough. They realized the jungle wasn't just wet, it was dangerously alive. They needed water. Food. Shelter. A plan. Daniel remembered survival advice: follow running water, rivers lead to people. So they hiked. The heat was suffocating. Vines snagged their clothes, insects bit relentlessly. When they found a small stream, they drank carefully. Emily's hands shook so violently she spilled half of it. The rainforest felt infinite, and indifferent. On day 4, the sky darkened again. Daniel and Emily scrambled to build shelter, but the storm hit too fast. Rain hammered them like stones. Winds tore branches down around them. Then, floodwater. The river swelled, turning into a violent brown wall. Emily slipped on the mud, almost dragged by the current. Daniel grabbed her wrist, pulling her back inches before she would have been swept away. They spent the night clinging to a tree trunk, soaked and shaking. By day 7, hunger gnawed at them. They resorted to eating palm hearts and insects. While collecting firewood, Daniel stepped near what looked like a fallen branch, until it moved. A fer-de-lance, one of the Amazon's deadliest vipers. It struck lightning fast, grazing his boot. If the thong had gone deeper, Daniel would have died within hours. Emily dragged him away, both crying from fear and exhaustion. On day 10, they heard something. A distant hum. A helicopter. Daniel waved the reflective metal wildly. Emily screamed until her voice cracked. But the canopy was too dense. The helicopter passed without seeing them. That night, Emily broke down completely. I can't do this anymore. I'm so tired. Daniel held her. We're going home. I promise. By day 13, they reached a wider river. Daniel suggested building a raft, but Emily could barely stand. Still, they tried. Using vines and branches, they made a crude float. It barely held together, but it drifted. Hours later, Emily spotted something, a log, but cut by a blade. Human activity. They were close. Late on the 14th day, they rounded a bend and saw it. A fisherman's hut. Emily sobbed uncontrollably. Daniel collapsed to his knees. The fisherman ran to them, shocked, and radioed authorities immediately. Within hours, rescue teams arrived. The couple was dehydrated, covered in bites, and severely malnourished, but alive. As Emily boarded the rescue helicopter, she looked down at the endless green expanse where they almost died. Daniel squeezed her hand. We made it, he whispered. Emily and Daniel's survival became an international story of resilience, love, and determination. They later married, and every year, on the anniversary of the crash, they light a candle for the pilot who saved them long enough to give them a fighting chance. Some stories remind us how fragile life is. Others show us how powerful the will to survive can be. This one does both.